We launched this program to be connected Nigeria in May in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, and we had so many people that attended that, and we wanted to make it a non-subjective platform. And what we have seen is for this country to progress, we have to educate the young people. And then we also have to help the young people unlock their potentials, because sometimes it's not just about the conventional education, which is just going to school and so on and so forth. When I tell you the stories of Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, a lot of these people who have drove technology to where the whole world is benefiting from right now, they were dropouts. But like I always emphasize, it's not an excuse for somebody. But sometimes when you have creative ideas, even the academic environment cannot contain those burning ideas. So when you are creating a development strategy, you have to involve everybody, from the janitor, those that clean the laboratories, to the professors, to the mechanics, to the technicians, and you have to bring them together under one vision. And then we've seen countries with a lot of population like China, but they have converted their population to productivity. And now they are on the verge of becoming the strongest economy this planet has ever seen. And even when you look at the United States as a model, it's a very, very diverse country. The United States of America was formed by people who had dreams from all over the world. And they carried their dreams, they carried different faiths. So when I see people talking about division in Nigeria, either coming from the north or south, I think we've not been able to use our diversity. Diversity is not an adversity. It is an advantage for this country to use in order to promote our tourism, because when you have diverse cultures, that will attract visitors to come to the north, south, east, and west. When you have a diverse country, you also have the issue of resource distribution. Probably you have oil in the Niger Delta region, you have gold around Zamfara and Niger, you have gas around Sokoto. So it's better than having a country that has one mono product or common homogeneity. But a lot of us keep thinking that Nigeria is not, or was not configured well because of other. Yes, there were some elements. But by the time the leadership begins to educate the young people, more especially, that division should not drive our national conscience, I think that will really, really help this country. Then another issue I'll raise here is also the conceptual industry versus the physical industry. When you look at the economy of the United States, right now, 84% of the capital market is from the conceptual industry. Conceptual industry is like when you look at how much is the value of Facebook, how much is the value of Hollywood, how much is the value of the satellite that is allowing you, as NTA, and every other mobile telecom operator to carry their customers to the next link. So in those days, the richest people are the owners of Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, GM Motors, and so on and so forth. But we remember when Bill Gates was the richest man on earth by just developing an operating system, which is the Microsoft Windows operating system, which every computer at some point for home or office use must use that platform. Over 200 billion came out of that. Now you look at Yahoo, you look at all this, and then we are beginning to do that also in Nigeria. When you look at sports, the contribution of sports to the GDP of other countries. Look at the ex-Barcelona player Neymar. His transfer from Barcelona to Paris Saint-Germain cost PSG $250 million, which is 100 billion naira. When you quantify 100 billion naira, it's the combined receipt of probably KB, Zamfara, and Sokoto in the whole year, but one player. And this player is not producing automobiles, is not doing any form of agriculture, but he is able to entertain about probably 600 to 700 million people every week. And then we are not just watching these leagues for free. You have to pay for subscription. So invariably, before you watch Neymar, you must have paid $1. Look at the Nollywood, what the Nollywood has done. These are young people that came together and created a non-existent industry. And look at how much. Look at Kannywood. You know, so look at the writers that have been ignored. Look at people who are doing a lot of software development. There's an app developer we saw in Lagos in the course of our roadshow that has developed a payment system using artificial intelligence. This payment system cost that developer about 700,000, but now it's on the verge of being acquired by major global technology players, and that technology may be acquired for close to $500 million. So we have these talents, and by the time government can create an enabling, atmosphere for these people, I think it will be wonderful. Then when you look at universities too, they have incredible opportunity to run their own system like other universities. When you look at most of what is going to Silicon Valley in the United States, either from MIT or from Harvard. So in the United States, you have universities that are generating up to faculties that are generating up to $2 billion from research. So if our own academic institutions can be encouraged to commercialize, it doesn't have to be a technology research. If you create a research that can offer solution, be it sociological solution to a lot of issues we have, for instance, street hawking or this child labor, a research can resolve that. So that can be commercialized. And that if you also find a professor that has developed a research that can block, not necessarily technology, that can guide people to do elections in the most credible way. That is also a value that can come from the university environment, and that value can probably create something more valuable than what the university will have to wait for from any of the 3 tiers of government we have.
You have explored a lot of opportunities that maybe Nigeria can make use of. Now, as an expert in that sector, do you think Nigeria has the opportunity to avail Nigerians, especially the youth, with all these opportunities you have explored?
That is what I'm saying, because why I'm able to talk about this is when you have to blend the public sector experience with the outside experience. I was a commissioner for 8 years, right? So I have seen what can be done and what probably cannot be done, either due to absence of will or due to absence of resources. And so when you are outside, you can link that and see how can we create an economic revolution. Economic revolution means that people are going to be targeted and they are going to be empowered. And when you are targeting development of an economic system, you have to involve the young people. 85% of the active players will be the young people. One, they have to embrace that vision. And we have seen countries that have done that. When you look at the development model of Brazil, they were in trouble back in 2002. But in less than 3 years, they are able to create a turnaround. When you look at China, China's development strategy effectively started around 93, 94. But it didn't take them that long. Look at the way Turkey is going at the moment. Look at India. So these are countries with diverse cultures, with diverse faiths, and with diverse traditions, and they are still able to do something, that shows that, they can also become a major place. And I think we're on course.
Okay. Now let's come back to the grassroots. You are an expert in the finance sector, and you have spoke extensively about issues that will bring a lot of opportunities to Nigerians. Coming back to Sokoto State, do you have any plan to at least avail that opportunity to the team youth of Sokoto State, looking at the vision and mission you have for your states?
Yes, we actually did that. I remember one of the empowerment programs we did, I'll tell you, which is to do with the conceptual aspect of unlocking the potentials of young people. We did an empowerment program relating it to sports around 2009. I think Tijani Wawendira was invited to Sokoto, and he went around, and as a role model from the north, he was able to identify people playing from the street, and these were just young people around. He visited the 23 local government areas and was able to identify young people whose passion were on sports. And he identified, I think, around 36 talented footballers. After that program ended, about 8 of them got into the Nigeria's Premier League. And in 2014, I remember when I moved to Ministry for Local Government, I moved to Ministry for Local Government in 2012. He came and told me 2 from this program, Shehu Abdullahi and Usman Mohammed, exceptional players. So I went to the National Stadium when the Olympic team was being formed by Coach Samson Siasia. I approached him that we have a program that we did in Sokoto, and the person that trained them, who was playing with you, is saying that these players are good. So he took them, and he said, as long as they are good, no problem, we'll try them. And those kids went to represent this country at the Olympics. First, they won the under 23 African Championship, and the 2 boys from Sokoto, just today, Shehu played for the national team. And I think what he did was what enabled Iwobi to combat, which has qualified Nigeria to the World Cup. So you can see these boys were, the incentive they were getting was actually less than 5,000 naira then. But what they are being paid now is unbelievable. But because they came through a vision, a state vision, they will listen to us when we call them and say, please support this. So this is the significance of using, government as a platform to support some of this empowerment program. Then we did also empowerment program on poultry, which we targeted rural women, rural people, on a very, very basic and functional entrepreneurship model. Our approach was we established that Sokoto had serious deficit in terms of egg supply. So we gave these people, initially we started it in conjunction with the MDG, Millennium Development Goal, and we also use the SHOAP initiative to continue with that program. So when you are creating an empowerment program, you have to consider 2 very important things. One, the market of what you are trying to do. Sometimes you train people on cosmetics, but are you able to compete with the major cosmetic makers? If you are producing egg, nobody cares where it's coming from. As long as it's a healthy egg, people will buy it. So you have to figure out if the market is there. So when we train these people on eggs and poultry, they were not even able to satisfy their immediate market, which is good, which means once the market is there, you will continue to do that. Then the simplicity of the initiative. So what you need to do when people are used to knitting, like, our leather works in Sokoto, it's very, very important to take the finished leather to the next level, because that's what we give to visitors when they come. And then if now they are using hand, how do you massively reproduce what you have? So that if you are asked to supply 1 million pieces of this, are you able to meet up with the target? Because sometimes if you have creative things, maybe you are not able to do more than 10 or 20. It's good, but because you lack the capacity. So you have to do simple things. You have to make sure that market is there, and then you also have to make sure that the capacity to produce is also there.
All right. Now, let's come to the financial sector. Years back, we experienced a lot of policy challenges. Now, with the current situation in the country, how buoyant do you think the financial sector is to at least enable young people be creative and buoyant into the whole sectors of the country?
Anytime you have a recession, is an opportunity also to create other opportunities that will replace the produce or the product that has led to that recession. So I think it's because when you look at the shift now, the federal government has put a lot of emphasis on agriculture, and we are beginning to see the benefit of that. Because once free money is not there, and then we have this land, we have even irrigation facilities. But because at some point everybody thought it was easier to just wait for politicians to dish out money or to wait for when you'll have your own time or turn, that was how productivity was killed. So we've seen countries that have suffered from subprime in 2008, but they are coming out stronger. So the young people and Nigerian young people must think lower. There are so many things that this country requires from them, but the way we can fast track our economic growth is if we begin to export products that can be bought by other countries. This is how we can maximize our foreign exchange. This is how we can also encourage people to produce more, and this is how we can export our economy.
Now, let's talk about the current issue in the country, the restructuring issue. What is your take on this? Is it ideal for Nigeria to be structured, or what?
You see, democracy is the highest form of government because of its emphasis on equality, freedom, and justice. And it's also dynamic because as much as you see democracy in play, even in advanced countries, every now and then you see some of these agitations. And when you just leave these agitations unattended, I don't think you are also helping the country. So we've had a series of discussions, and then if the restructuring will bring us sustainable focus, then I think it's something that we should, but it should be equally debated. People should have equal opportunity to put forward what they think their regions require to prosper. But as a federation, I think we are better and we are stronger united when you link some of those elements that I was relating earlier. Our unity is put under serious scrutiny. We also have to scrutinize the configuration of our federal system so that we can forge ahead. When you look at the Brexit now, United Kingdom has been part of the European Union, but majority of people in the United Kingdom came out last year, to say that they feel they are stronger when they are out of the EU. This may be legitimate or it may be an ambitious decision, but you cannot take that away from an active democracy. So yes, we had constitutional conferences in the past, but look at the issue of the derivation. It was not there before, but when that 13% was captured, that has reasonably addressed certain elements of agitations, and now we are not even talking about that. We are talking about the entire country. Every region is looking for some form of equity in the way the administration of this country is done. So I think we have the platform to discuss that, and nobody should preempt what Nigerians are looking for.
Now, what hope for people of Sokoto State do you have in mind, looking at the scenario in the whole nation?
Well, I believe that this country, this state, was a pace setter, and it will remain so. some 210 years ago, Sokoto laid a movement, and that movement was intended to create justice, equality, and equity. And that's why this state is still respected. So we also have very, very talented people in this state. And we have people who have served even this country from this state, severally, even at the highest level. So we have to be conscious of the enormous potentials we have, and then this is what Nigeria requires from us. And this is the consciousness that we are trying to put, especially in the minds of young people. That when you see economic challenges, don't think that it's over. It's under difficulty that opportunities thrive.
Talking about the politics in Nigeria, yes. What is your take on the current political scenario?
Yeah, there are two parties that contested. We had the PDP that was ruling from 1999 to 2015. And then the APC took over between 2015 to today. So it's not the right time to judge whether a party of change has failed or that, because we just started, And the fact that this has started, and people are beginning to see invariably the focus, some of the policy directions. When you look at the context of combating terrorism, we should all believe that that aspect has been comprehensively delivered. Because prior to that, to this administration, everyone lived with that fear. But that fear has gradually gone, because we now know that substantially Nigerian government is in charge. Then when you look at the issue of tackling corruption, you have to allow it go through the necessary mechanism. But the intention and the will has been there. Then another part which we have to commend also the previous administration is for accepting to hand over power, because that has given Nigeria incredible goodwill, and that has also strengthened our capacity to challenge undemocratic governments within our sub-region. Because if we didn't have that, we will not have the credibility to go and say, no, democracy has to be in Gambia, it has to happen in this and that. So, like I said, democracy is a continuous process. And then what also this administration is doing is to strengthen the institutions. Because once you strengthen the institutions, individual leader will gradually be irrelevant. When you look at the Scandinavian model, they have empowered people economically. The institutions are very, very strong. So nobody talks about which party or who has to drive this. So the way we are going, there is a lot of promise. It's just 2.5 years versus 16 years. So we have to wait and see what happens afterwards.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable FARUK Malami Yabo.